welcome back to another session with me. This is Sanyukta Saxena. This is going to be maybe the final session of this year. Yes. So I again have a Zendala in front of me. Let's get started with today's session. So today I'm going to be starting with a tangle called Drupe. Right. So I'm going to create some sections and then I'm going to draw the tangle Drupe. So how does the tangle Drupe go? It actually starts with this kind of a grid. Right, just like we did Ixorus, that kind of a grid. And then what I'm going to do is extend the lines a little more. So first let's start with the basic grid and then we can dwell on it. That's the basic grid of the tangle Drupe. Then you have to aura it from inside. So each of the V sections created, aura it from inside. I'm working with a Micron 05. You can also work with your 01. Slowly go to each of the sections and aura it from inside. That's how the tangle Drupe goes. And the last one here. Right? And then we create these curves. Again, the moon shape. The crescent moon shape is what I'm doing. Inside each of the sections, slowly. That was the first layer. Moving on to the next layer. In the same way, if you want, you can vary the shape. Instead of the moon shape, you can make it a nice petal shape. Yes, that can be an interesting tangulation, and it will start to look like a tangle called finery. So when you vary the shape to a petal kind of a shape, it becomes like finery drawn in a Drupe grid. So I'm keeping it simple right now. Started with a tangle called Drupe. Most of the tangles that I've drawn, picked up during these sessions are Zentangle originals. I like to draw the originals. They have a beautiful property to them of repeating strokes, and each of them has a different characteristic. If you are a beginner, I would always suggest that you start with these tangles before you draw anything else. Extending the lines a little more and then transitioning into a tangle. You can also extend the double or triple lines. Let's do that. Transitioning into a tangle called Cubine. Bring the lines down like this. Yeah. So again, I'm going to take the center one up, make a square which is in the shape of a diamond. Cubine. You can take these lines up. That's fine. Adds a nice variation to your shooting cubines, and then bring these lines down. Yes, again take it up. Go as per the spaces you have on your tile. No hard and fast rules there. Again extend these lines up, and then you can come back down here. Go with the spaces and the shapes that you have. So this one will not show, but you can always add a few more like these. Yes, and since we have 3 lines, so let's make it 3. Let's maintain that much symmetry and then bring it down. So it's kind of curl up, funky one. And again, you can have overlaps also. So let's draw one like this. Isn't it fun? Cubines floating around like kites in the air. Yes, it is. So enjoy the strokes. Enjoy the flow of lines. Bring it down here. Slowly take your time. You can draw one here, probably just halfway through, hidden behind there, behind the droop. Yes, actually, if you want to draw a hidden one, you can also draw it like this. So just have fun. That's what I'm having here. A truly hidden one there. I think that's sufficient. Yes. Now coming back to our droop. Before that, let's first ink this section of the Cubine. Yes, you can also add an aura and then so Cubine is one of those tangles which gets a lot of character when you ink it. Gets the dimension that you need, right? So shading makes a lot of difference. It adds that third dimension. You actually understand the tangle after you shade it. Else it just looks like a square. Slowly take your time. Add that additional aura. Looks nice. If you want to add more, you can do that also. Yes. So the next thing that I'm going to do is ink these bands, the crescent moon, with a small highlight. So leave a slight highlight in the center. Alternatively, if you want to ink the entire thing and then use your chalk to add that highlight, you can do that also. That's perfectly fine. Yes, let's do this exercise for all the moon shapes, the crescent shapes. Slowly go to each. And I'll quickly do the last layer also. So I'm done with that exercise also. Now I'm going to be switching nibs now and shifting to a little finer nib. Going to deck up my cubines a little more and add some mookas like this. And this place also you can either add a flux or you can add simple tipples. I'm adding flux in between. So the mooka, flux here and a flux here. And still if there are some spaces, you can just squeeze in some tipple. Yes, so I'm kind of decorating my shooting cubines a little more. Mooka. Keep changing the direction of the Mooka. Add a flux. Add some tipple. Add a flux, add a tipple, or you can add flux on both sides, whichever way you like it. So go slow, take your time. You can first draw the mookas like this, alternating directions, and then probably go ahead and add the flux. If space is too small, you can just add tipple. But flux and tipple is all that I'm adding. Yes, let's do it here also. Slowly take your time. Delicate looking mookas, small tiny spaces, push in some tipple if flux cannot be added there. Mooka is a very versatile tangle. You can use it as a standalone, you can use it as a filler, you can use it as a border. So these spaces are small, so I'm not pushing in any flux, I'm just adding some small tipples. Yes, let's do the other two also in exactly the same way. One up, one down. That is how we are going to do this one also. So our cubines are all decked up. The next thing is to add this thatching or unthatching to your drupe and complete the tangle. That's how the tangle drupe looks like. So you have to add these fine lines just like a thatched roof, the ends of a thatched roof. The technique being called enhancing. Yes, it's a great enhancer and it's part of this tangle drupe. Slowly take your time, go around, do that exercise throughout. Means to all layers. Yes, not just the last layer, you have to do that to all the layers. So be patient, take your time, no hurry. Keep the lines light, don't put much of pen pressure. So that's one. I'm going to move on to the next. You can keep them smaller since spaces are smaller. Take your time. Rotate your tile. Yes, let's do one last layer. And almost done. Yeah. If you want, you can add some bit of ink, It's your choice if you want. Yes, so let's now complete our tile. So we have these in between spaces. Your choice of tangles. Yes, you can add anything you want. I'm going to go with the tangle called Tripoli. Yeah, so Tripoli, the tangle is nothing but a series of these triangles arranged in such a fashion that they look like flowers. So let's start anywhere that you feel like. Go with the spaces you have. You can draw behind. I'm just drawing triangles, but while drawing triangles, I'm ensuring that I aura the previous one closely. Yes, so that is what gives Tripoli its true character. Closely auraing the previous one. Go with whatever spaces you have. Again, start here and then build on it. The second triangle, the third triangle, closely aura, the fourth triangle, aura closely, the fifth triangle, closely aura, the sixth triangle. If you aura it closely and nicely, you will actually start to build flowers like these. And that's the beauty of the Tangle Tripoli. Yes, it's a grid as well as a pattern. Let's do that throughout. So starting with whatever spaces I have and then adding more. Don't have to think much, just draw behind. Yes, you can have two here. Don't bother about the size and the shape, that's fine. So you just have to continue like this. Let's start here from the other side, add a few triangles here. Tiny spaces there, let's fill it up. Yes, so we filled up that space also. Coming next to this space. So closely aura the previous one, that's the key, and that's what guides you to the next one. Yes, take your time. I'm going to do this exercise for the rest of my tile also. Use it as the background tangle. Start it again with a triangle here and then keep building on it. Work on one flower at a time. Like this. Yes, done with that. Now it's there in the background, but we need to add something to highlight IEEE, right? So there are a whole lot of fragments that you can choose from, but choose a simple fragment. So what I'm going to do is add a moon. to each. Now if you want, you can aura it also, but I'm first going to just simply add a moon to each side like this. So it adds that drama as well as my background kind of pops up. So this is going to take a while, but you have to go to each of the triangle of your Tripoli, each of the grid, and add this small moon to each side of the triangle, and you can already start to see the meta pattern being formed. Yes, because Tripoli is also a grid, so you will see these kind of meta patterns being formed when you add a fragment inside the grid. So go slow, take your time, no hurry, take a break if you wish, but go to each of the triangles, seen partially, seen wholly, and add that moon so that your background is also seen. Like this. Yeah, let's do that. So when I go to the next one, I try and coordinate. Yes, because they are closely auraed. So this one I'm going to closely coordinate with the previous Tripoli. This one I'm going to coordinate with this, the other side. So that's the least you can do. Even if you don't do, it will look nice. So don't get disturbed by that. So I'm going to continue like this, and you can take your own time. Whatever is visible, just go on and add that much. Yes. So I'm done with the exercise, added that fragment to my Tripoli all over. Let us now get to shading our tile. For the Drupe, I'm going to add graphite on both along the V actually. Yes, highlighting each section of the V. So it's always good to use a small pencil. Just push it inside your palm. It helps you reach those smaller tiny spaces. You can take the shading till the end maybe. Yes. So that's how I'm going to shade my Drupe. Well, you can always shade under these bands also. That's entirely your choice. As I keep saying, shading is your personal choice. You can shade the same tangle differently. Depends on what you feel like at that point in time. Yes, so by doing this, you can see you kind of curl up your Drupe because of the highlight in between. Yes, so make sure you leave that highlight and you don't make the entire thing gray. Slowly take your time. Like this. Yes. Next is to highlight our Cubine. So I'm going to add graphite here. Like this. Adding shadow on one side of the diamond shape. Like this. Almost covering the entire shape. And then on the other side. So this is again your choice. How do you want to go about shading it? Shading it in this manner will highlight your Cubine because you have a background, a Tripoli background. So this will kind of separate your Cubine from the rest. Now, as far as the Tripoli is concerned, if you want it to recede in the background, then you just have to shade the sections. So what I am doing here is not going to each and every Tripoli, instead just adding to each section of Tripoli like this. Yeah, so let's do that. Go along the edges. And then just slide with a very light hand. Not blending too much. Make sure you have these white highlights. Very light touches. And trying to keep the centers white. Something like this. Now, if you really want to add some great drama, then what I feel like doing is actually add color to this part of my Cubine. Make it black. Yes. So I'm adding an aura and then bring it down and then ink it. Like this. Yeah, so you can see it adds instantly to the look of your tile, and it also highlights your Cubines a little more. So find those opportunities as you draw your tile to add that spunk, that extra zen. Yes, so I kind of shaded it normally, but then I realized that there is something missing. So here we have already added a highlight, but if you want to re-emphasize it, you can always run your chalk pencil there. You can also highlight the other side of your Cubine. Yes, you can add white here also, but it's already white, so I don't see a need. At places you can have highlights on your Tripoli where you have not added gray. So just find those places where you have left your Tripoli white. Use your chalk to highlight those spaces. Maybe small, maybe big. And that's it. We don't need to do anything else, but embellishments are always welcome. So if you wish, use your jelly roll and add a few dots here and there, or add dots here inside your Cubine. Always adds a mystic feel, as if you can see the sky from inside. And that's it. Put in your chop somewhere sitting cozily. Find a nice place to put in your chop. So I'm just going to add my chop here. Sign and date your tile. So I shall see you again with one last session of the year. Till then, have a good time. Bye bye.